Blue sky in your head. Yeah.
One thing I do remember about this track, Blue Sky in Your Head, is when we were in the studio making it. I don't know, I just had a really strong impression of just hopping on a train and just going somewhere nicer.
Yeah.
That was the impression I was having. It's like, this train, just get on it and just go somewhere where things were just better, really. I think we tried to kind of do that when we were actually recording. That was writing it, but also when we were recording it with the musicians.
Yeah.
Like, get to a point where you had the distinct impression of leaving all the stuff that's not that good behind, and just going on a trip. Basically going on a trip, like tripping out to somewhere nicer, even if it's in your imagination.
That idea that, I mean, I thought this in the car on the way here this morning. I was thinking that, I can't remember who said it, if you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at will change. So if you've got got that kind of blue sky in your head, you're coming at it positive, and you approach it positively, and you see the good in it, it will actually be good. It's almost like the world of your thoughts creates the world that you live in. So I suppose, blue sky in your head, it's all you...
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, My Salvation was one of the first things that we worked on this record, and it was, I think it started from a kind of a reaction to, actually it was a reaction to London. It was a reaction to the time, you know. It was kind of almost like this time that we live in now. It's just a bit weird. And actually, when I first started, it was about my son. My son's called Oliver, and it was like, originally it was Hey Ol, you call my name, you won't be on your own. Because it feels like, you know, just for the kids, it's such a confusing time. It's a confusing place, and you just sort of, and you're looking for something really solid and something to believe in and something that you can hold on to. It's almost like it's all dispersed, everybody's separate, nobody's together, there's no kind of, almost no contact, no human contact. And you're looking for salvation, really. And so that's, I think, how that song kind of, that's how it came together, you know. It's like when you say a prayer, does anybody hear? You know, it's almost like send an SOS. It's kind of like, yeah, a reaction to what it's like now. Live Again. Live Again was one of the first two songs that we did. And I suppose you write the situation that you're in when you're making a record. You just write the situation that's happening at that moment in time. Actually, it was my kids had just left home, and it was kind of like, it was almost like something was missing. Somebody had gone, and then you started to think about it, and you thought, you start to think about the way that you're moving through your life and stuff that's happening, and yeah, in a way, I think it's kind of like, it's related to High, Live Again. High is, you know, we're going to be forever, you and me. This is about Live Again. It's almost like it's not the end, we're going to live again. So there's an element of like, we're going to be forever in that song, Live Again.
I remember every time I hear this song, when I sing this song, it's just, very distinctly, I don't know, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you know, I just see your dad.
That's really weird.
Like,
Yeah. And I think of your mum.
I mean, they're both,
Seriously, I do.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm not just saying that because
Yeah.
to play snap.
there you go. It's like, and then both our parents, they both died, they both passed away. But yeah, I mean, like every time I sing that, and Paul's dad used to come. He came to like some of the gigs. He came. I remember the last one that I remember seeing him was the gig we did in Newcastle. And, he came to that gig and we were chatting backstage afterwards, hanging out and stuff. And yeah, and just every time I hear that song, it's like you say, it's like it's a bit like that Nerd, the band, I think they're cool. Pharrell Williams and all that stuff is like, just put Nerd, even the name is such a cool, because Nerd is an anagram for nobody ever really dies. It's such a spiritual concept. And when I hear that song, I think of Paul's dad, I see him very clearly, and it's that idea. Yeah, Long Goodbye. I remember we did this as well. It's also, we did this with Steve Booker, who we also did My Salvation with. And I remember the day the funny thing is, like, I came in with the chorus to this I already had. And I remember, like, I'd had it for a while, and I'd played it, I can't remember, 2 years ago or something like that, 3 years ago, before we made it. We recorded that version, like, played it to a couple of people, and everybody just really liked that chorus. And then people said, you've got to do something with that, you can't, Anyway, I put it aside and left it. And when we came into the studio that day, I remember I played it to you and Steve Booker. And Steve Booker just got so excited over it. And even now when I listen to it, it just makes me smile. Well, don't ask me why, but yeah, I think it reminds me a bit of like Goodbye Heartbreak.
Yeah.
And it's from what you tell me, like it's one of Oliver's favourite songs on the record.
Yeah.
Oliver's Paul's son.
Yeah. It's like, I like the way it's like a little short love song. Mm-hmm. The very first time I saw you, I thought this could be for life, and everything else before you just been a waste of time. But then it got dark and someone switched out all the lights. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Game over.
Game over. And it's just got such a nice groove as well. It's a really interesting thing, like, kind of talking about your own songs, because there's something really strange about it. Because I never really I like hearing what people, how they interpret the song. Because there's always a different, like, perspective than your own. So somebody would come one day and say, oh, I heard that song and this is what, and even though you were the one involved in writing it, you think, oh yeah, I never really saw it like that. And then you listen again from that point of view and you can see exactly how the point of view can change. So yeah. I never basically what I'm trying to say is, I don't really like talking or giving away too much about what song is, because the danger with it sometimes is you can easily lock somebody into a state of consciousness. And you don't want to do that, because there could be 100 different perspectives on that.
It's a funny one, Clouds, because it kind of says what it is anyway. It sort of, doesn't it? Clouds just kind of says what it is. I think, yeah, it says what it is. Yeah. I'm going back to what you said before about spelling it out. Really.
Yeah. Well, I'll say something about it. When you make a record, I suppose because we haven't made a record in like 18 years, so
Yeah.
you know. But it's always been like this. You know, you make a record, because you never. Sometimes you just never really know where what you do is going to end up, and sometimes you write more songs that make it onto the record and stuff like that. So, but for me, my thing has always been like whatever I'm doing, I'm going to do, because you never know. I want it to like shine, to sparkle, to be really alive. So I try, just because you never really know what's going to, so I always try my best to kind of put all into it. And I remember when we were doing this, one of the things about this, and especially when you go further into the track, halfway through and towards the end, I remember sitting in the studio one day, we were doing that, and the guitarist was playing. And it's like, all I could see was just like swirling colors in my head. It was just like really colorful, like a kaleidoscope. That's what that does to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Clouds was like, we've got a studio in Newcastle, we've got these fabulous monitors, and they're the kind of monitors that you can put like, I don't know, a Bob Marley record on, or a Marvin Gaye record on, and there's this massive landscape, and you kind of got this stuff in this landscape, and it was so much fun bringing that mix into that room, because it's a massive soundstage, and putting this big voice in the middle with this stuff happening all around it. It was kind of, yeah, that, to me, that's kind of, we talked before about you're trying to sort of, there's a particular kind of whether it's high or lifted or ocean drive, you're trying to hit this button, you know? And I feel like with this song, we've kind of, feels like we've touched that button a bit,
Yeah.
you know?
And anybody that listens to that you can hear Lighthouse Family. If you know Lighthouse Family, for instance, and you're familiar with like, you know, high, lifted and all that sort of stuff, it's like, you can hear it. It's like very strong in there.
It does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Waterloo Street is a street in Newcastle. It's where I met Tunde. And there used to be a club there called Rock Shots. It's not there anymore. It was a kind of a house music club. There was a DJ called Tommy Trent, used to play amazing, kind of feel-good, sunshine house music. It was kind of like, and I suppose when we first started making music, we wanted to make music with that kind of spirit. So yeah, Waterloo Street.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I said I grew up in Nigeria, so I listened a lot to people like, well, a lot of, like Fela Kuti was a very prominent one. There's like people like Sonny Ade and stuff. So, and I've always wanted to make something that had a groove that hinted at the sort of Afro thing. So there's that in there. But that song really comes. My daughter said those words to me. Like I remember, you know, she was 5 at the time, I think, and she would come maybe at night time before in bedtime. She'd come. She'd want me to take her to a room, and on this particular day, I remember I was just like I was really tired, so I was trying. I said, "No, you can go by yourself. It's fine." But she insisted. She wouldn't move. She wouldn't budge. She said, "No, you got to carry me to the room." So reluctantly, I eventually picked her up and was taking her to a room to bed. And as we were walking down the steps, she just said, and that's what she said. She said, "Daddy," I says, "Yes." She says, "Can I put my heart on you?" And then from there on, she just went into this whole spiel about how God is real in all our hearts and stuff. But by the time I got to a room and put her in bed, I was in tears. So, you know, for me, it's a prayer. It's like a hymn, which is the sort of stuff I like. And
when I was writing the lyric to Light On, I was thinking about this movie that Paul Thomas Anderson made called Inherent Vice. And there's this character called Doc Sportello, and he's been with this girl called Shasta Faye, and she's beautiful. And she's gone. She's left him. She's not coming back. But he's still holding the torch for her. He's still kind of carrying the flame. And I kind of thought there was something quite beautiful about that. I suppose in a way, blue sky in your head, he's got blue sky in his head. It's total illusion, it's delusional, Doc. But I thought there was something really beautiful about that. Yeah, who's going to save me now? I suppose it's that feeling of regret when you realise you've made a mistake. A bit like that Joni Mitchell tune, Big Yellow Taxi. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. So it's kind of, I suppose, yeah. There's a dimension of regret about the song, and also I think there's a kind of, yeah. There's another spiritual dimension to it as well, which I'm not going to spell out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I remember this was years ago. You know, a friend you might have met. I won't mention his name, but a friend of mine. He used to come to a lot of our gigs, and he'd crack jokes. And sometimes says, dudes, like, you know, I play your records, listen to your albums, and like, put a record on it says Lifted, and I put another one on it says High, and I put one on it says Lost in Space. It says they're all just so. So you guys must be on some pretty heavy stuff. Which was the total wrong end of the stick of what we do. But like you said, there you go. I mean, he's probably going to say the same thing when he listens to this record and have songs like Clouds, you know, Save Now, stuff like that. But I suppose the point is, like you said there at the end there, it's the spiritual dimension of things, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lighthouse Family songs, like Ocean Drive, I like songs that put pictures in your head, almost like a movie. Like they're a little movie. There's something cinematic about them, quite visual. And I think Super 8, it's kind of like the way your memory works. It's like there's something a bit like an old Super 8 about your memory. And I suppose this song it's about that. Yeah, Streetlights In The Rain. It's like it's a little story. I can remember when I was younger, I walked back from my girlfriend's house. It was about 20 miles. We had a bit of a falling out. By the time we got home, yeah, I was over that. But yeah, Streetlights In The Rain. There's something about, it's a kind of a break-up song, and I think lots of times when I was younger, you break up with people, that's where you find yourself. Outside, it's night time, it's raining, it's dark, and you're thinking, now what I'm going to do? I like that. I know I'll find a better place out there somewhere.
Same thing, Under Your Wings. Very much. I remember we did this song with Steve Booker. And on the day we were supposed to go, I remember to go there, but they'd cancelled the session. And I mean, I already had the song and the idea and stuff, working on it. And so I remember calling him up just to make sure that he was okay, because we couldn't go. The studio was shut down. Because somebody had sort of planted I think it was a bomb or something like that, and that fortunately didn't hurt anybody that particular day. And but prior to that, we'd been in the studio working on the song, and I was trying to get this idea across how, I mean, I suppose we've all, one way or the other, had our own sort of encounters where you kind of just narrowly miss something really bad or negative happening because of some reason. And so, in essence, that's what that song is about. And I remember when we getting into Steve Booker's place, I told him, you know, when we finally went in to work on the song, that, oh, that strange thing that happened here the other day when we couldn't make it was exactly what that song was kind of hinting at.
I mean, Immortal, yeah. Immortal, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's the same as Live Again. It's kind of like, but I don't want to sit here and start talking about, I feel a bit...
say it's a banger.
I like that. Lighthouse banger.
It's a banger, yeah.
Yeah, I feel a bit stupid. I feel a bit like, oh, yeah, what am I saying here? Bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't know. I suppose the thing about, like, I know, for instance, that, you know, because I've been there, and part of I go to Nigeria and stuff like that, but I've been to South Africa, and Lighthouse Family is huge in South Africa. And, you know, you look at the situation at times in, you know, those sort of places, and other African countries, it's like there's a lot of hardship, a lot of death, a lot of disease, and I think for that reason, like, for instance, my full name is Babatunde, which comes out of the Yorubas, which is one of the tribes in Nigeria. I suppose all Nigerian tribes believe this. They actually do believe in the reincarnation of the soul or immortality we're talking about. And it influences a lot the culture. And it's in the names, it's in the reason why they'll have big families. So like my name, Babatunde, actually means, Baba means father, Tunde means has come back or is back. Because I was born just after my grandfather on my father's side had died. So in that part of the world, you know, the culture allows, it's like these ideas of, oh, you know, we never really die. Soul is immortal. I mean, the situation and the place either forces people to believe that, or the situation just encourages people to believe and feel that. So it's like, songs like Immortal, Live Again, are very easy for those. I'm not saying people can't relate to it in the Western world, because a lot of people do. But specifically when you start, because I know an idea like immortality can be sometimes hard to talk about. But when you go to those sort of places, I've been there, you know, like radio station interviews, it's very, because people, it's second nature. Because a lot of the people you meet have names that specifically mean that. If it's a woman or a girl, the female derivative of it is Yetunde. And it means mother has come back. So, you know, it's difficult to, I mean, I suppose, you know, when we're together doing stuff, we're always kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. And he knows the sort of stuff that will sound natural coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's no need to just say, you know, I won't be singing that, or, you know, it's a lot easier. Whether you're able to sort of explain it or not. A lot of people understand.